Hi everybody, thank you for coming down here and watching our YouTube. What we're going to do here is help everybody out with darkroom stuff, darkroom problems and darkroom work that you need to do. I have a studio here in downtown Toronto and a lab, and I have 20 years experience working out all the problems that can appear when you're doing analog stuff. Of course, we're going to touch a little bit about Photoshop, but mainly we're going to stay analog and we're going to stay film and darkroom and how to use all the materials. And today, what we're going to do is look at what type of scratches you have and see how we can resolve the problem. Now, there's two different types of problems when you have scratches on the prints. There's black scratches and there's white scratches. Let's talk about what we can do about both of them. Come with me. Okay, since I love shooting film, the truth is I bulk load sometimes and I use whatever film I can get my hands on. What happens every once in a while when you bulk load stuff is your canisters might be a little dirty. Something happened, your felt on your film canister is not completely clean, and first thing you know, you have a scratch running through. So I'll run you through a couple of examples of scratches and what we can do about it. So the first one is the cityscape from Montreal. And here we have black scratches. These are basically the worst type of scratches you can have, because what it means is that the silver actually got off the emulsion. So there's no more image to save on this. So what would you like to do with the black scratches like this is there's nothing you can do in the enlarger. Either you live with it or you scan it and you go through Photoshop and you remove them. Not that it's actually a pretty easy job in Photoshop, but then again, that's why you shoot film. Sometimes, you know, there's things that appear and mistakes, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Personally, I think it works for this shot. It would not work for some other shot. So you're either lucky or not lucky, and then you go with it. And then you can move. The nice thing is, it's a physical backup. It's a negative, so you can do whatever you want now. You can scan it, Photoshop it, you can print it with the scratches, or you can even wreck it even more, going, hey, it's not scratched enough for me. I'm just gonna go buck wild on this thing and see what I can do with it. So let creativity go and take a root with you. And so we have the other one, which has a white scratch. So I put a blue line right through it, so right beside it, so you can actually see the white line. The white line means that the scratch is actually on the other side of the emulsion, which is the base side. This is good news because most white scratches that you see on your prints can get removed no problem in the enlarger, and I'll show you how. Okay, so this is how we're gonna settle the problem with the scratches on the base side, not the emulsion side. So one thing you have to know, the professionals use no scratch. You're basically gonna buy one bottle like this for your entire life. This stuff lasts forever. It looks old because it is old. I've had this for 15 years and I'm still not even half through it. Okay. So it might be a little expensive to begin with, but then again, it's worth it. So check it out. It's called Edwal No Scratch. So basically what you need to do is you have the scratch, and what you want to do is recreate a new base so that you fill all the cracks with no scratch, which is basically, I want to say it's turpentine, but it's not really turpentine. It's literally just an oil. I know you can get scanning oils, because of course scanners now have the same problem of whatever imperfection on your negative exists, it just shows right up. So this will help you completely remove the scratch. By filling up all the scratches and all the lines in it. So now we're going to go in the darkroom and give it another print. So don't forget, this is the negative that we printed this print from, and there's two major scratches on it, and chances are this is going to remove it. Let's go in the darkroom. Let's print this one. Put it into the enlarger. Now, we're gonna help each other figure this out, but I'm gonna tell you that I print with a color enlarger for black and white all the time, and I use the magenta and the yellow for the contrast. This is gonna be another episode on how to control your contrast. So we're gonna stick to this gun right now, and let's expose this piece of paper. When I do larger prints, 8x10, full bleed, 11/14, 16/20, what I like to do is close down my lens 5 stops from wide open. Like this, you always have the ultimate sharpness of your grain, and you have edge-to-edge sharpness. Every lens in the world is always better 4 stops down. So this is the trick. You're trying to get the sharpest print, use the sharpest points of your lens. F22 doesn't mean sharper. F2.8 doesn't mean sharper. F8, F11, probably the sharpest. So right now it seems a little dark for the paper, and that's also because I'm using a lot of magenta light and we're in orange and Arctic light right now, so it cancels each other out a little bit. So it's hard to tell until your eyes get used to it. And also the other thing is I like to have slightly longer exposure time so I know how to work on the print. If I need to dodge something, I can dodge easily without, you know, looking obvious. Because the other thing about black and white photography is, do you want to be obvious or do you want to be subtle? And personally, I believe subtlety is where the mastery is, because everything else is just a little bit sloppy. Some people like the slop, I don't. Everybody their own stick. So my exposure time right now is 2 times 99 seconds. There's no dodging and burning to be done here. This is just an example. I'm not gonna go crazy. I'm not gonna get the final print of this image. This is just an example. Little things about the darkroom that you must know also is, you know, there's 2 sides to the darkroom. There's the dry side and the wet side, and you have to make sure that no wet goes on the dry side and nothing dry goes on the wet side, because this is where trouble starts to happen. And always keep your floors dry, and good ventilation is also very important.
Don't bring your phone in.
Don't bring your phone in. Okay, going into the developer. Developer, I use Dectal most of the time, 1 to 3, because it's one of the sharpest cold tone developers you can get. It's easily found, and well, it's been a reference to me for 20 years. Every time I try something different, I kind of always seem to go back to Dectal for the reference. I like my black and whites neutral to cold, so Dectal is perfect. If you like them going warm and everything else, I recommend Ilford Multigrade. It's an easy developer, it's liquid. Dectal is powder, so you have to mix it with water, but it's no big deal. You know, bang for the buck, Dectal is definitely the way to go. So I'm printing RC right now, so 1 minute in the developer is good. And then literally just a splash in the stub bath. Then we're going to the fix. For 1 minute, I'm using Ilford Hypam because it's a high efficiency fix. 1 to 4, mix it. And at this point, we can turn on the light and turn on the water and see where our print went to. Miracle of digital is all of a sudden the print is dry and everything is ready. And you can tell here that the scratch is gone. The composition is a little off because under the enlarger I just did a quick recomposition, so don't quote me on that. So basically the scratch is gone. Now this is the Edwall no scratch. One thing you have to do after you use it is use an alcohol and a microfiber cloth and just remove it before you store your negative. You don't want to store your negative with turpentine on it and then blame me later for why it ate the negative away. So it's neutral, just clean your negative before you store it. Now, I got a new twist for you. There's another trick if you don't want to go buy the Edwall nose scratch. It's called the nose scratch. So basically, you can do the same thing that I did with the nose scratch. You do it on your negative, You do it with your nose grease. So I'll just bring a new negative out and I'll just show you what you need to do. Let's imagine that the scratch is right here. I'm going to turn on the light so we can see the negative. So basically, imagine you had a scratch in the middle of this and you want to remove it. So all you have to do is create a new base. So what you want to do, make sure you don't have any makeup on, is you use your nose, you get some of that good grease in the middle, and you just rub your negative in circles all around, and that will fill the scratches on your negatives. All you're trying to do is create a small diffusion on top of the base so that the light gets diffused so that all the scratches disappear, so then you can print. A lot of people try to spot the prints once they've done it. It's really hard to do unless you have experience and amazing eyes. And I'm telling you, may as well do it in the enlarger if you can, because that will save you time. But you also have to use the alcohol and wash your negative before you store it. And that I'll show you how to do it with alcohol. So we have the silver salts of the film, and then we have the coating base, and then we have the base here. And I'll show you the scratch. What happens when you have a scratch is it goes like this and it keeps going. Okay, so what happens is the light goes here, reflects this, or goes this way, bounces back. That's why you're seeing the print. That's why you're seeing the scratch on the print, because the light goes different direction. So what you want to do is put some grease on so that you recover this so that it becomes flat again. And this is where we're going with the nose grease. Now, you take the negative, you use your nose grease, a little bit, not too much, right? Everybody's got some sebum on the side of the face, behind your ear, do whatever you need to do to get it. And then you just do little circles all around it. And you move it, and you move it, and you move it. And that will create just enough diffusion for the thing to go away. Now I'll show you how to clean the negative after, because this is as important as it is to save it. Okay, so we're going to start cleaning a negative, and I'll show you how. This is how. You use a clean microfiber cloth. Always have one around. Alcohol. The trick about alcohol in negatives is alcohol is 91%, which means 9% of it is water. Water you don't want close to your negative. So this is how you clean your negative to leave no residue. You can't allow the alcohol to sip into the negative. So what you need to do is you put some on the cloth, like I did right here, and then you go right beside the negative, and you're gonna blow it right away so that when you give the pass, you're giving a good blow so that it dissipates way faster. It will dissipate about 20 times faster than if you were to just swipe it. If you just swipe it, the water on it will leave residue on it, will leave some marks, and the water might destroy your negative. So you want to be careful when you do this. And like I said, you go like this and you blow right away and it will leave no mark. Just one pass should be enough. The negative looks great. It can go back in the sleeve. And now you're good to go again. Make sure that you don't put fingerprints or anything on the emulsion side. As you saw, everything I did was on the base side. How do you know it's the base side? Is if you can actually read the name on your film. So if Kodak is upside down, you're looking at the base. The emulsion side is going to be matte, and you're actually going to see the definition of the silver all around. The base side is pure gloss. So most of the time when you're looking at the negative the right way, you're going to read Kodak on it, the emulsion number, Tri-X, Hectare, whatever you shot. Okay guys, so thank you for coming to our channel. Please subscribe. And if you have any questions about darkroom, questions that you have that you'd like an answer to, please ask me under the comments underneath and I'll see if I can answer your question or make a video on it. So again, thank you for coming, and talk to you soon.